Inside look at the largest bankruptcy in American history, the 2008 collapse of Lehman Brothers. Vicky Ward is a contributing editor to Vanity Fair, the author of the upcoming book, The Devil's Casino, Friendship, Betrayal, and the High-Stakes Games Played Inside Lehman Brothers. Vicky Ward, good morning. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
You know, a lot of folks are looking for an insider's account as to how this big financial house fell. You wanted to kind of look beyond that and really get inside the culture of Lehman Brothers, and it really opened your eyes. Tell me about the culture that kind of led up to the collapse.
Well, you know, the culture was, I have to say, actually terrifying. It reminded me a bit of John Grisham's book, The Firm, where, you know, basically no argument was brooked at the top. If you disagreed with what the senior management said, you were fired. But you could also be fired for much less things. You could be fired for wearing the wrong clothes, either on a golf course or in the office. You could be fired, in the case of one man, for looking down at the floor too often. You could even be fired for being too fat.
So not the kind of culture that would embrace someone raising their hand saying, hey, something's wrong with the numbers?
Anyone who did that, there's the door.
And it's interesting, the story of how this book came about is pretty interesting. You were able to get a hold of the diaries of Lehman's senior executives. It was a source almost like a deep throat from
It was completely like a deep throat.
And these diaries were part of really collecting a history on Lehman, right?
Well, the diaries are the heart of the book. I couldn't have written it without them. And what happened was, early one morning I got a phone call saying, are you the Vicky Ward writing the book on Lehman? Can you meet me at Saturday at 7 o'clock in the morning in this
cloak and dagger stuff here.
Cloak and dagger, out of the way coffee house. And I went slightly nervously and found not a serial killer, but a very legitimate source. And he had these documents which were dictated memos by the senior Lehman executives. And they were compiled to be an official history of the firm, but they actually turned out to be Lehman Gate, because they revealed how treacherous the firm really was.
So stuff that they would never publish as a history.
They would never in a million years have wanted to fall into a journalist's hand. And so from there, the story of the book and the people, I mean, I think what's different about this book is that it's really the story of the people inside Lehman, and in particular, four best friends who started off with no financial training to work behind a bar in Huntington, and how they set out to make money on Wall Street, but they wanted to stay good. And the tragedy of the story is that you see money and Wall Street corrupt them, and you see their marriages break down, you see their friendships break down.
Well, you mentioned marriages. One of the surprising details in the books is about the spouses who talk about their husbands' all-consuming life, that everything went to Lehman Brothers. Now, a lot of people are married to spouses who are married to their jobs, but this seemed to go to the next level.
I think this went to a really terrifying and pernicious level. I think when women have to give birth on their own, when one woman in particular, her child had just had a seizure, and yet she was made to abandon the child and get on a helicopter to go and visit a senior colleague's new house. That kind of stuff is way beyond the call of duty. They were made to hike up mountains they didn't want to hike up. They were made to show up at social events, give money to the things that the senior management told them to do. I mean, I refer back to The Firm and John Grisham. It was a really pernicious culture.
You also write about a woman named Erin Callan, who became the first woman to become a chief financial officer of Lehman about the time that things were starting to go downhill. She, in your opinion, was not qualified for this job.
Well, not just in my opinion, but in everybody else.
I know the bankruptcy court has recently produced a report suggesting the same thing.
Yeah, she wasn't. But actually, her biggest mistake was to accept the job, because she wasn't qualified for it. And the economy was about to get the worst it's been in a very, very long time. And she, her story in a way is fascinating, because once she got the job, she would come into work in more and more unsuitable clothes. One outfit was known as the Star Trek outfit, and another outfit was known as the Bjork Swan outfit. And the problem was that everyone at Lehman would send each other emails as she walked through the door. Have you seen what she's wearing today? Which is not a good thing for a CFO. And also, what was not good was that she kept appearing on television. As the CFO, you're supposed to sign off on the financials. You're supposed to raise red flags, not be on television all the time.
Dick Fuld, the CEO, he gets the lion's share of the blame here. He's the bad guy, the poster child for all things going wrong in banking. But when you got your inside look here, does he in fact share most of the blame?
Well, he's technically and legally culpable because he's the CEO, but actually what I discovered is that he wasn't ever really in control of that firm. But his number twos, no, two of them, one who's now dead, they were actually in control. So when his lawyer says that he didn't know about all these dodgy accounting things that were going on, I might actually believe that. I think Dick Fuld was slightly removed from this culture.
Well, it's a fascinating and intriguing account of what's happened at Lehman Brothers. The book is called The Devil's Casino. Vicki Ward, nice to talk to you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.